Does replacing the brake pads and rotors in your BMW X5 or any other BMW seem daunting to you? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how we're going to do that so that you can feel comfortable doing this repair yourself. So let's get right into it. Our first step is going to be to open the hood because we want to check our fluid level. There's going to be a tab right over here that we need to pull right here, and we open the hood. Our brake fluid level is going to be right here. And to get to that, we got to take off this clip here, and this should come up. So you want to get a tool like this that you can put in there. And of course, this one broke because it's about 20 degrees outside. Plastics don't like the cold. Since that broke, we want to get something like this and pull it that way, and it should come out just like that. We can then pull this up just enough so we can see our brake fluid level. If your brake fluid level is near the max, you want to suck some of the fluid out so that it doesn't overflow and leak out. Brake fluid will eat through paint, so we don't want to do that. This one is actually pretty good. It's between the min and the max, so we can go ahead and safely compress the calipers. Since there's no solid point in the middle that I can lift both front wheels up at the same time, I'm going to do one at a time. To do that, we want to locate our lift point area right here, and we want to lift from that. So here's another thing you guys should remember. You would want to use these wheel chocks and place them on the rear wheels just like so the car doesn't roll forward when it's lifted up. Since I'm only doing one wheel at a time, it isn't that big of a deal because the electronic parking brake is engaged, but we're just going to leave it there so we can be safe. After we get the wheels off the ground, we want to place a jack stand underneath of the vehicle. I placed mine over here because there isn't another solid spot to be able to do it. Now I'm going to lower it a little bit, so a little bit of the weight of the car is on here and the rest of the weight is going to be on there. Lower this down a little bit. Now let's continue by taking the wheels off. To take the wheels off, we have 5 17mm lug bolts. With all of them off, you want to just tap the wheel. After taking the wheel off, this is what we're left with. So this is our caliper. We have our brake wear sensor here. That's why I wanted to show you guys the driver's side. The passenger side is going to be the same process as the driver's side, but this one has the brake wear sensor. This is sort of like a retainer spring here. The way we take that off is by using a pry bar, prying it here, and using your other hand to pull. So we do that, and we pull. Behind the caliper, we have this plastic covers or rubber covers, and we want to take those off. There's going to be one at the top, one at the bottom. We want to take these off and place these to the side. We want to use a 7mm hex like this. It doesn't have to be short, but this will work just fine. After loosening these all the way, we can either go ahead and take them out or just leave them like that. We want to go ahead and take this off here so we can get our brake wear sensor out of the way. And let's take this off by moving it back and forth. Here's our brake wear sensor. You want to pry that out of the way like so. Take the pad out all the way, and we can take this pad out as well. Our next step is going to be to take the caliper bracket off, which is held on by these Torx bolts here. These Torx bolts right over here are going to be a size E18, size 18 Torx, or inverted Torx I should say. And we can place this to the side. Next, we need to take this bolt off on the rotor, which is held on by a size 6 hex. Put that in there, and let's see if this gun is powerful enough to take this off. And our rotor is out. Now, a few ways to tell if the rotor is bad. So you can see here the discoloration between the face and the deep grooves on the rotor, and same thing on the back. There's deep grooves around. This will cause pulsation, and if you were to just put pads on this, it will wear out the new pads just like this. So the new pads are going to have grooves. It doesn't have much of a lip, but if you have a Mercedes, BMW, you want to replace your rotors every time you do brakes or anytime you do pads, because the lip here will cause them to squeal like crazy, especially in the morning. So we want to take off the brake wear sensor all the way, and it comes all the way up to here. So pay attention to the routing of it. We can use something like this to just help pry it out. A little bit tight, but it will come off. We have one more here, and then we can go ahead and disconnect it from the connector here. Pinch with one hand, pull with another. You're just gonna have to twist it a little bit and it's out. So we can put this to the side. I'm gonna clean the face of the hub here by using an abrasive pad, and I'm gonna use it with a gun because it makes it a lot faster. And it should look something like this. We're gonna go ahead now and put a little bit of anti-seize around this face so the new rotor will sit on there, and whenever it has to be done again, it will come off just like this one did. So you want to use something like this, anti-seize lubricant. It can either be gray or sometimes they're copper looking. So you just want to put a little bit and spread it evenly across the face here. Perfect. So that's what we want. Now we want to go ahead and clean the caliper bracket where the new pads are going to sit. So these areas here and here, so that the new pads will move freely without interference. And to do that, I just use a regular brush like this. Perfect. So this one is pretty clean. There's no rust here, no heavy rust. So this one should be just fine. But if you did have a lot of rust, you want to file these so that the areas are nice and smooth. If your rotor has a matte coating on it, you don't need to do anything. You just put those on. But if it has this oily coating on it, you want to clean it up with some either alcohol or brake clean works really good. If you don't, the new pads will get contaminated with this stuff and they'll start collecting a lot of dust, debris, and it will wear the brakes faster than they should. So we want to just spray some brake clean here on a rag and wipe. We can put this on here like so. Before putting this bolt on there, I also like to put anti-seize on this, and this one I actually put a decent amount because I don't want this to seize on here. So we just do that like that. Let's go ahead and tighten it up. Then we can clean the front of the rotor as well. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and install the caliper bracket in its place. What I like to do is put a little bit of blue Loctite, blue thread locker on these and put them one by one, just a little bit like that. I like to do that anytime I'm not replacing the hardware. I personally don't torque these, I just go by feel. They will vary from model to model, so you just have to look for yourself to see what your vehicle is if you do want to torque them. That's perfect. Now let's get these pins out because we want to put a little bit of silicone grease on these. So let's take some of this brake lubricant here, put a light, very light coat, and you want to spread this out like that and do the same thing with the other one. Then you want to take this, put it on here, and just slide it back and forth like this. You want it to move in and out freely. Let's go ahead now and compress our caliper. Let's take our new pads and we want to apply a little bit of silicone grease on the areas where they're going to slide, and we want to spread it by hand. So just like that, you want to just spread this a little bit by hand. Make sure you get a little bit under here as well. Put some here where it goes into the caliper. you want to take a little bit of silicone and you want to put it where the two prongs are sitting against the pad. Let's use our hex and we can tighten this up. Let's get the bottom as well. Don't forget to put your caps on here. Our second to last step, we want to put our new clip on. So you want to line this up here, both top and bottom. Sometimes if you've never done this, it can be a little bit tricky. You want to push, and that's in. Now our final step before we put the wheel on is going to be to put a new brake wear sensor. We want to go ahead, put this on here first. The way it came off, that's how we want to put it on. This hump on the sensor needs to be facing towards the rotor on the inside pad. So line that up. And there we go, that's our final product. So we have everything installed. We have our new sensor installed and routed properly, connected there, connected here, connected at the bottom, going around, connected up here and up to our connector. So everything is installed properly. Our last step is going to be to install the wheel. So let's get the wheel on. Let's take our jack stand off and lower the vehicle. Let's torque our wheel to spec. The specification for this vehicle is 110 foot-pounds, but I like to put them up a little bit higher than that at 130 foot-pounds. I had an issue once where one of them came loose. Thankfully it didn't come off, but a couple of the lug nuts came loose. So since then I've been putting them at 130. I haven't had an issue since. Last few steps, after you're done with the other side as well, you want to come around and check your level. As you can see, ours is almost at max. By the time I do the other side, it's going to be just at about max. Then don't forget, you want to pump your brakes. So come around and pump your brakes before you drive. You don't want to hit something that's in front of you or behind you. So after the pedal is tight, you're good to go. Take the car on a road test. I'm going to show you one last thing that you will need to do, and that is to reset your warning light here if it is on. I'm going to press the button here until the reset possible comes up. You want to let go, press it again, and it asks, do you want to reset with the question mark? Let go, press it again, and you're going to see the buttons move up, and it should say reset successful. If everything is good, and it does, it says reset successful, and it has a warning for 16,000 miles. It says engine oil also is due at 900 miles. Vehicle check 8,000. So rear brake pads, those are good. I have done those before. Brake fluid. So the only other thing is the engine oil. So turn the key off, and there you guys go. If you guys found this video helpful, please leave a like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you won't miss another upload. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.